Good morning, everyone. As Tim said, my name is Jim Doebrick. I'm the Senior Applications Engineer here at Hubbell-Wiring Devices for the inSIGHT data monitoring line. So the first slide here, you'll see an array of products that we have available. The left-hand column there with all the pin and sleeve devices is our offering that we have available currently. We have a 480 volt, 60 amp, and 240 volt, 60 amp pin and sleeve receptacle and connector. 30 amp or 100 amp needs to be used for the application. We have an inline option that we offer with a power meter inline with a cord and connector. In the center there, moving on into corded devices, we have our smart power cables. We offer what are called SG cables and RG cables, single phase and three phase. We can do any one of those in any plug-in connector that Hubbell has to offer. So if somebody needs any type of watertight or twist lock, we can do that as well. And on the right-hand side is some additional devices that we have. The top right-hand corner, that is the main hub of the system. That is our gateway. In the center there on the right-hand side, that's our environmental. It's one of 3 or 4 options that we have available. So we have something called an E300, which is just a battery-powered option with ambient temperature. We have an E302 option, which is that same monitor, battery-powered. And it has 2 temperature ports on it for 2 extra temperature readings. Then we have what's called our E306, which is what you see there on the screen. That has 7 readings that it gives off. So it gets ambient, dew point, and humidity, along with 6 different temperature ports. And then we have an E312 that does the same as well, with 12 temperature ports. In the bottom right-hand corner, you're going to see our panel monitor. That is a single monitor inside of an enclosure. We can do anything from what we call PG, as you see there, and that's just one monitor, all the way up to a BG, which we can do up to 42 meters in one enclosure as well for full panel monitoring. Moving on into how the actual system works. So our system is wireless in nature. It is a wireless mesh network. It does have the capability of up to 150 nodes per gateway. Each node must be within a 30-meter distance between each other for communication purposes. As I mentioned, it is wireless mesh, but with the wireless mesh, it is self-healing mesh network on a 860 to 930 megahertz frequency. That is done particularly so that there is no issues with downtime on pieces of equipment if you need to service any of the product you see here. So if you wanted to change something out, or if there's an issue with the machine and you shut it down, you won't have any issues with the other devices communicating as long as they're within the 30-meter range from one another. A quick side note on that, 30 meters is our go-to number, 90 feet. We have tested well beyond that, so there's generally zero communication issues, especially in the industrial environment with this particular frequency range. And then again, it's very easily scalable and configurable. So anytime a customer or end user, somebody wants to add another device, as long as they're within the specifications of the gateway that they've ordered, being 30 node or 150 node, and they're within the 30 meters, they're just going to add the device and keep on going, and it's going to start picking up right away. Now that leads to all these devices taking the information and bringing that information back into the gateway. That type of information they're going to get, which we call our key performance indicators. They're going to get any type of currents, voltage, power. On the pin and sleeve, they'll actually get device temperature at the connection point for each phase. And then we have our environmental monitors that do ambient, dew point, and humidity. And all of these are over 99% accurate and utility billable grade for anybody who's using, let's say, a colo location or any type of sub-metering for some reason or another. And then once all of that information is brought back into the gateway needs to communicate with either our cloud-based system or a local energy management software or building management software. So we have a number of different protocols available for the gateway. EMX would be our own cloud-based software that the customer would go to and purchase. Any type of Modbus, TCP/IP, SNMP. For Ethernet IP, we have add-on profiles that works with Rockwell Factory Talk. We have worked with Rockwell directly to develop those. So there's no additional devices needed. You could add any one of our devices to their system and use with their software. And we just recently did an update where now the gateways are fully compatible with their stuff up to 150 node. Originally, the gateways had a little bit of a limited amount due to communication timeframes. That has now been adjusted, and there's full capability on the gateways as well. We developed MT Connect for some customers that had some Mazak CNC machines that they were working with in some of the industrial environments. And then currently our BACnet gateway is in testing. was supposed to be available earlier this year, and unfortunately, due to many of the development circumstances throughout globally, really, it took a hit, and it's now back in its testing phase. But we do have some of our beta tests out in the field working fully every single day in some universities and data centers as well. In addition to the devices I showed you and what you see here, we have additional hub devices. We have an SNMP hub device, a Modbus hub device. Those act like gateways and can bring in third-party devices. We have a list of devices that we are capable of working with so that information can be provided to the customer, as well as something called a wireless network connector, which then basically takes a third-party device with a little bit of background work that has to be done in an engineering charge, I believe that there is, for some development. It's a very quick process. They basically take the third-party device and turn it into an inSIGHT device by using the wireless network connector so that we can be added to any system or anything can be added to ours. Moving on from there would be into the software. So what does the gateway do with the information? So each one of our gateways comes what's called our gateway console software. It's embedded software inside the gateway. It's included on every gateway. There's nothing's purchased. There's no fees. This is where any of the IT departments inside the facility would go in, they'd look at the gateway, they'd set up their BMS protocol or any internal network setup and settings. They would do firmware updates if available. They would check all the monitoring nodes, make sure that, hey, if I have 10 devices, make sure I see 10 device IDs here. That would give them a good troubleshooting thing to do in the beginning. Then once you see all of those, if everything looks good, if you look in the screenshot on the right-hand side where it says nodes, there is a readings tab that you can click on any one of those gauges, and it will actually give you real-time data like you see there in the center. So you can look at any one of those real-time. I've actually done demos where even live, trainings like this, we were able to, see a data change within 3 to 6 seconds of me making a change to the load on the monitor itself. And then you also have a system dashboard in there. So you could always check your system health, looks to make sure everything's nice and healthy. You see right there, everything's okay and green, good to go. It'll give you indicators in there if there's a problem, and it should point you in the right direction. Now, once you have all of this set up, if you're using your local system, you're good to go, and you just have some things to do. So if you're using Modbus, you would do all your Modbus registers and pull in the information that you need. Now, if you're going with our Hubbell cloud-based system or EMS software, this is what you'll get from us. So EMS, as I mentioned, is a cloud-based monitoring software. So all the information from the gateway is sent up to the cloud. With that being said, the cloud-based software does have yearly subscription fees that do apply. It's per device. From what I can tell, most of our competitors do have the same situation with any of their cloud-based software as well. What I'm being told for feedback is generally that we are on the lower cost side of things. It can range anywhere from $27 per year for a node to $200 and something per year per node for some of those larger panels I discussed earlier. It's strictly for data storage and data transfer rates. That's all it's used for. And then with this, you have access from anywhere at any time. So you basically type into your web bar, the web address, and you go ahead with your email and password that you've been set up with, and you're good to go. All your information is in here and ready to go. You'll have real-time data. So what it does is it takes the information in the gateway, averages those over 15 minutes, and just all those charts you see there down at the bottom, which you can change to bar graphs or any type of visual that you want to see it in. And it averages those and plots them over a 15-minute time period. You'll also get a list of your nodes and systems set up on your main screen. Once you get in there, you can customize virtual dashboards, any types of customer reports. There's also standard templates available. And one of the bigger features is you get your node alerts. So you could set high and low parameters and have them sent via email or text message as well. Moving on out of the software, I'm going to go back into the more technical side of things and get into the applications. So here, what I've done is I've done a general, power schematic of how things come into, let's say, an industrial building. And again, I'm going to show industrial, commercial, data centers, and institutional. Across the board, generally, you'll see a lot of stuff kind of overlap, and you'll see some things. But industrial tends to be our biggest customer. They have a lot of different cool new uses for it, especially at point of use applications. So for applications, you're going to start anywhere from the service mains and work your way through main distribution panels, transformers, sub panels, up to full panel monitoring in some areas. Branch circuit monitoring, a lot of the customers really like to look at their lighting, their power circuits, and a big one lately has been HVAC rooftop units, and then any dedicated equipment circuits. Point of use and portable equipment, welders, a lot of the motors, actually, we tend to get a lot of pin and sleeve stuff for. Then you have, portable carts and stuff like that. Something we are looking into trying to combine with this is a little bit of asset tracking. I know that has come up quite a bit in our training, so I just wanted to at least make mention that, that is something that we are looking into to try to incorporate into this or find another way within the software. So that way for cost allocation or things like that, we can take a look at that too. And then we have the hardwired equipment. So as of today, what we would use is a panel monitor attached to a disconnect. We do have in development an intelligent disconnect as well. So that's something that the system is continuously evolving and new products being looked at, as well as the environmental monitoring. I have had some really great success with this in the industrial environment, especially those who may be looking to update or upgrade their facility. Just to throw it out there, we had a customer who came to us and ended up changing some light fixtures out in their facility and didn't take any environmental readings prior to doing so. And they picked the wrong rating LED and it actually melted the fixtures, the LEDs, and they ended up having to buy more of the environmental monitoring to put that in there prior to, and then rechange out the fixtures. And then also any type of, especially, pharmaceutical, they're looking at refrigerations, enclosures for food processing, any wash down type areas, stuff like that. It's used for quite a bit of applications there. And as far as the solutions we have and where they should go, this diagram, I tried to make it as simple as possible to really help identify some really cool places to put this stuff. In yellow, you'll see our inSIGHT panel monitors, the HBL-PG or HBL-BG. In blue, you'll see our smart power cables, the HBL-SG or HBL-RGs. Then in red, you'll see the smart pin and sleeves, receptacles or connectors. And then anywhere is green, all over the place, you'll see environmental monitors. Now those are ambient air, anywhere near air ducts, as I mentioned, in enclosures, that kind of thing as well. And then generally what those customers are looking for in the industrial environment. We've gone through many manufacturers, the auto industry, the pharmaceutical industry, food processing, food storage, all of that. And what they really look at is energy efficiency, any types of failure predictions. They want to know, hey, is something running off? Is something going to happen? Because they don't want any of those high temp changes causing any issues for any of their devices or equipment, which then leads to cost, downtime prevention. So they're also looking at machine tool learning. They're taking this data, monthly reports, putting into either something that they have or just looking at the trends to see what's going on in the facility and see if there's anything that they need to look at. And that's actually the area where a lot of those node alerts come into play, and really give them, hey, listen, you set this parameter, you don't want this phase of the motor going over, so many amps, and it's alerting you that it is. So it's either getting too hot or something's wrong because it's not balanced with the others. Looking at power usage trends, lighting efficiency, and then again, they're looking at incoming branch circuits and point of use analysis as well. I won't spend too much time on the commercial because again, like industrial, they're really looking at those service mains, the power coming in, brownouts and dirty power coming into facilities is a huge problem. So this is something they're always looking at regardless of application. Where it changes for commercial as a whole is really where is it used after all of the paneling, right? So you're looking at, offices, conference rooms, break rooms, team spaces, any types of sub-metering in commercial buildings where, in the state that allows resale of power. You have commercial buildings with subtenants and stuff like that. So you're looking at those. Any types of storefronts. For environmental, you're looking at refrigeration and just open air spaces with air conditioning to make sure that the HVAC is running efficiently. In conjunction with looking at them in the panels and looking at the power usage and trends there as well. Institutional, very similar to commercial. The only thing different there for me would be that a lot of the universities and stuff have data centers. So that's where more of the environmental comes into play, the smart pin and sleeve, the underflow, above floor stuff. especially any types of colo locations, which would bring me into the data center stuff on the next slide. Panel monitoring is used quite a bit. Just looking in offices, air conditioning, a lot of, community spaces, stuff like that. Which then brings me to the data centers. So again, just like commercial, industrial, they're all looking at their panels and mains. Here in the industrial or in the data center area, we are looking at more of the environment rather than necessarily power. That seems to be the biggest hit with data centers, is that, as well as the underfloor pin and sleeve and smart power cables that come into play here. Now, something else that we have just gotten work on for release is for data centers. We have some leak detection, rope leak detectors that we can use now for the perimeter of the floor, make sure there's nothing leaking, no water getting in, no issues there. So again, ever expanding product line on this. We have a lot of this stuff deployed in some universities and large data centers overseas. So definitely some large applications. Everything's been great as far as these go. And then for every customer, we always provide additional information. Any of our sales teams, distributors, end users, we provide as much support information as we can. We have solution sheets. We have a lot of different applications guides. We have our website that we actually just redid with a bunch of applications information as far as places to look and places to identify for this type of product. And then we also have what we call our solution sheets that have an application problem, the solution we offer, what the bill of material might look like, and what the cost may look like, and who we have for a point of contact as well in those facilities. At this point, I'd like to just leave it open for questions. So Tim, if you wanted to take back over, the floor is back to you. I appreciate everyone's time.